everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Stick to the Pod. And before we get into this week's episode, or today's episode, I should say, because I am a little bit behind, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who has listened to the first episode. Give me a little bit of feedback. It's greatly appreciated. And yeah, thank you very much. If you care to like and subscribe to where you listen it to, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, whether it's on YouTube, if you could like the Facebook, the post on Twitter, or now as it's called X, again, greatly appreciated. So let's just get straight into episode 2. Not going to be a long one again. I didn't want to stick this one on to episode 1 because it'd be far too long. So straight into today's episode, just going to cover the results of last week. Was going to do previews of the teams going into last week, but again, at the time of recording, it is Saturday morning, and we're looking forward to this weekend's fixture list. A lot more fixtures that we have to come. So best place to start was last week's only game on the Saturday, and that was NIHL North 1's new boys, the Hull Jets, taking on last year's Morley Cup finalists, the Billingham Stars. As I said in the preview, not many changes in the Stars roster, most notably Finn Braden leaving for Leeds, Ian Brown coming in as the Canadian import this year. So as to the game, I was there. Not a lot to write home about for the Billingham Stars, I'm afraid. Slow, sluggish. You could argue bus legs. That's what it looked like, which I thought was a bit strange. Not the longest of bus journeys. They just couldn't seem to get any momentum going, couldn't seem to get any speed going. And that's not to take anything away from Hull. They kind of hit us on the counter-attack quite a lot. They kind of had a game plan, which that kind of seemed what it to be. Not a great performance by the Stars. Hull took the game 4-2. Obviously, shocks throughout the division. I don't think many teams would have expected that. I don't think the Hull Jets would have expected that. But then again, I think the Hull Jets would have expected a better performance from the Stars. The netminder, Zach Brown for Hull, played a blinder. Thought he was fantastic. Kieran Beach, I don't know, maybe that face cage of his has got superpowers. He played very, very well. He got a couple of goals. Richard Hagger, although the Stars managed to keep him quiet for most of the game, at the crucial moment of the third period, I think the Stars dominated the first 11 minutes, really going to get that second goal to make it a 3-2 game. Left Richard Hagger wide open in front of Stars netminder Tom Brown. He slotted home, making it 4-1, and the Hope Hill struggle far worse, far steeper than the 3-1 scoreline. Stars did make it 4-2. That was late in the third period. But to be fair, if they got back into this game, it would have been unjust. And Hull 4-2 worthy winners. And yeah, first shock of the season. I think the season's going to be full of them. As for Hull, not a stylish team for me. They're going to be very hard working. They've got a great netminder in Zach Brown. I think he's fantastic. A great forward in Richard Hagger. We know he can score goals. But I just think they're going to be a very working, hard side. And I think they're going to be a lot better on home ice. I think they'll use home ice advantage very, very well. And I think they will create a lot of shocks up and down that division. And I think I'm going to be right with that prediction of them finishing mid-table. Could they break into that top 4? That'll only depend on how well they travel. On to the Sunday, the 3 games on Sunday. I'll jump straight back in with the Stars. They were at home to the Sheffield Scimitars. A lot more energy from the Stars. They had something to prove from the night before, although it was only the Sheffield Scimitars, who I think this year again will be the basement dwellers. Stars running out 7-0 winners. Sykes, Grittins, who actually played forward this game. They moved him from defence from the night before, moved him on the forward line. It actually helped Sykes a lot more speed on that top line, and I think it brought the best of Sykes. Sykes, Grittins and Elder all scoring too, and they were a line as well. And Ian Brown also getting his second goal of the season. As for Sheffield, very workmanlike, hard, grafted, not the biggest bench, but didn't have the firepower to hurt the Stars. The other couple of games that took place, Whitley 5, the Lions 1. Whitley goal scorers, Finlayson, Wetherill, Lucas, Queen and Ross. As I said in my preview, I think a lot of goals are going to have to be scored by your Finlaysons and your Queenans. I think they've got to step up this year and be those 25, 30 goal scorers. The Lions, no shock to see that Yoki Yaman got their their only goal. He does lead that forward pack. For the Lions to improve on last year, a lot will depend on Yokoyama. Last year, he was very ill-disciplined. He plays on that edge, which I love. I love players who play on that edge. But he also knows he's the Lions star player, and he's better for the Lions if he's on the ice more than he's in the penalty box. Teams will target him. The lads in the division will know he's on a short fuse. He plays on that edge, but he's got to rise above it, and he'll do a lot for the Lions, a lot more for the Lions if he's on the ice. A 5-1 victory for the Whitley Warriors. I don't think anyone predicted too many shocks there. And they play again this weekend on the big pad at Nottingham. So let's see how the reverse fixture goes and see if the Lions have any changes in their roster. The other game on the Sunday was one of my favourites for the title, was the Blackburn Hawks. They ran out 4-2 winners against Hull Jets. Beach scoring again for the Jets. I believe that's 3 goals on the season already for him. But yeah, Blackburn winning 4-2 in the end. Goal scorer is Jacob White. Again, I think he'll be a 25, 30 goal scorer, especially being on the ice with Adam Barnes most of the season. That'll certainly help with that. Young Tate Shudra getting in on the act. James Riddick and Royds scoring for the Hawks. I think we'll see a lot of those names for the Blackburn Hawks this year. Look, White, Shudra, Riddick, Royds, Barnes. I think they'll be their main goal scorers. And what fine hockey players they are as well. And we'll see them a lot. I think that's one of the main reasons they'll be challenging for the title this year. So that's pretty much it for the results of last weekend. Just quickly run over them. The big shock, Hull 4, Stars 2. Sunday, Stars 7, the Scimitars 0. Blackburn Hawks 4, Hull Jets 2. And the Whitley Warriors 5 and the Lions 1. Obviously, the league table ain't going to look like much for the first few weeks. But that was the first weekend result. So let's get into next weekend, or this weekend's. I think we'll have the first real big game of the weekend being the Billingham Stars versus D-Side. Two of the projected favourites for the title out of the 4 teams who I think will be competing this year. The other game is the Nottingham Lions versus the Whitley Warriors. That will be on Nottingham's big pad, probably the best arena in the league. So a great opportunity for fans to watch their team in there. I've loved watching the Stars in there. I've watched Stars in there. I've watched GB in there this year when they got back to the top level, the Elite 16. So it is great watching hockey in there, and I'm sure the Warriors fans will have a great time watching that game. And then on at the Sunday, it's the reverse fixture for D-Side and Billingham. It will be D-Side's home opener versus Stars, so I expect it to be loud in that arena. The other big game, I think, and it's a bit of an unknown, will be Solihull versus Blackburn. It'll be Solihull's home opener also, Blackburn on the road. So that'll give us a bit of a little indication to me anyway, of how those 2 teams might fare this year. Solihull's never easy to go to. Always a bit of an intimidating place with the fans on top of you. But with their bit of an unknown in their roster this year, we should see where they're going to be up against that fire and attack of the Blackburn Hawks. The other fixture, Whitley versus Sheffield, will be a foregone conclusion. That will be a Whitley victory. I hate to say it, but it will just be by how many. Don't get me wrong, the Scimitars will work hard. They'll graft for their 60 minutes. Don't know what type of roster they will take to Whitley Bay. I think a lot depends on the junior games as well, for how many younger players they'll take. The bench wasn't too full at Billingham last week. 14 skaters, I think it was, 14, 15 skaters. So yeah, that's this weekend's fixtures. Just to run over those again. It's Billingham at home to D-Side Dragons. The Nottingham Lions will be playing the Whitley Warriors. And on the Sunday, it's D-Side Dragons again versus the Billingham Stars. The Solihull Barons at home to the Blackburn Hawks, and the Whitley Warriors at home to the Sheffield Scimitars. So that pretty much brings us to the end of episode 2 already. Again, like I said, I didn't want it to be too long, but I also didn't want to put it on top of episode 1. I didn't want to be boring you guys. But please like and share the pages. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter. Hopefully the YouTube thing is up and running as well now. I am on Spotify and Apple, all things being well. So please like those pages if you can. Leave reviews. I've got the email address at sticktothepod@gmail.com. Feel free to leave me any sort of feedback, any questions you might have, any questions or subjects that you might want to talk. I aren't afraid of discussing the National League. I ain't afraid of talking about the Elite League, Team GB. I do follow results. I do follow certain teams. And even if you've got anything about the NHL, I do follow the Detroit Red Wings. Let's go Wings. So yeah, any topics that you want to talk about, even if you want to come on, give me a shout. And I am quite new to this, and we can get that sorted as well. Thanks for listening. I'm hoping to get episode 3 out early next week, which will be covering this weekend's fixtures, and then hopefully get myself into a bit of a routine of the weekly podcast, which will be out around Wednesday, Thursday most week. So thanks for listening. Please leave the feedback, good or bad. I am still learning. Anything I can improve, please let me know. Anything you'd like me to change, and give me a shout as well, and we can take it from there. So thanks for listening, guys. Thank you.